Tired of screwing up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, episode 35. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And Chad literally tried to blind himself before the show to get out of having to do this one.
I'm dangerous even to myself.
He was gesticulating wildly and finger found eyeball.
Poke myself in the eye.
It's not even close to the dumbest thing you or I have ever done, though. That's the funny thing.
The funny thing is, it reminds me of my sister.
It doesn't even register on the scale.
No. When my sister was, I don't know, a teenager or whatever, we were sitting at the dinner table and she had a fork in her hand and she just poked herself in the eye. And she goes, I saw it coming. I just couldn't stop it. I was like, what the heck?
I'm just picturing slow-mo. Was Austin Powers?
Yeah.
When the guy's about to get run over by the steamroller.
The steamroller and he's screaming.
It's it's 100 feet away and it's going like a quarter of a mile an hour and he's just standing there screaming the entire time. I couldn't get out of the way.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
So you survived Brimstone.
I did. I survived Brimstone.
And the UTV.
The UTV survived unscathed. I popped a couple little push pins out of my fender flare. I just kind of rubbed a tree. I mean,
got in a tight spot.
Yeah, it is what it is. It didn't even I don't think it stretched the plastics or anything. I just need to pop them out and then put them back in because they pulled out of one part. But nope. The turbo did great. I was talking to Tyler about it. He messaged me yesterday or the day before, and he asked how it did. Really, it confirmed some of the things that we had talked about on previous podcasts where Steve was in a High Lifter 1000, naturally aspirated. I did not need the power that the turbo had. If I was only riding stuff like Brimstone, the turbo would be an absolute waste.
Yeah, and so it kind of confirms what we've talked about in the past, that if you're trail riding, possibly even XC racing, I mean, it's kind of even there. I mean, there's so many tight spots that if it's a really tight technical track and there's not a lot of field, the turbo probably doesn't pay any real dividends.
Yeah. Not to say that I don't enjoy it, and some of the riding that I'm going to end up doing, I know I'll use it, but it's definitely not needed. I'll put it that way. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I am glad I got it.
But you bought a machine for all seasons because we're going to be dune running at some point. We're going to be doing a bunch of different stuff. And that's kind of part of the plan for the show and for the UTV is go out, do different stuff, bring it back to all you lovely listeners out there.
So Brimstone was amazing. The views were awesome. The trails were really nice. Now, as I said, if you guys saw the video that I put together from my trip there, the dust was real. It was bad.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they ended up getting rain. I think it was Saturday night, so it kind of curbed it a little bit, or maybe it was Sunday during the day. But, the dust was a real problem, almost as bad as some of the races where, when the sun was shining and someone's driving in front of you, if you got more than 10 feet off of their rear bumper, you're better off to just stop and wait because the dust gets so sunlight filled that you can't see anymore.
Yeah.
And it becomes dangerous to be driving.
It's almost like snow when you shine, if you turn your high beams on when it's snowing, it just reflects it back in your face and you can't see anything.
Oh, my eyes were pushing out dirt and everything else for 2 days. It was nasty. So
wouldn't have traded it for the world, though.
No, it was a ton of fun. Man, their trails are well maintained, well groomed. The Razor got through them all with no problem whatsoever. The spot that I did catch my fender flare on was where we had parked and some guys had blocked us in and I was trying to get out. So it really had nothing to do with the trails at all. But yeah, it did really well. No complaints at all. I did get my skid plates put on, my plasticky ones.
Yes. And you probably didn't really have a huge chance to.
I used them a couple times, and it wasn't hard. I mean, it was one of those. We were climbing one of the more technical trails, and it's a lot of big rocks. Basically, is what it comes down to, and it bottomed out lightly on them. I'm not saying I slammed on them. They seemed to do really well. I didn't climb under and look at them afterwards. I just haven't been underneath it, but they do. I'll say they feel like they hit slightly softer than aluminum, but that's to be expected.
Sure.
It wasn't a hard enough hit where I would ever even be concerned. The factory ones probably would have withstood it just fine.
Sure.
So it was a light enough hit, but they did great. Everything else that I have on the Razor did great. I got to meet Cody from CW Motorsports. We hung out a little bit.
And by the way, that back half cage is just phenomenally awesome.
Oh, I love that thing. It's an amazing piece. It really is good. And I got to talk to him about, how he came about designing it and all that. And it was good because his story for designing that is really like any back home country guy's story. He saw a need for it and he came up with this idea and he's just like, I'm going to try and do this. And he's doing it. Yeah. I mean, he's like living that American dream where he came up with an idea and he's just trying to make a go of it in this world. And he's doing it. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before we get any further, I want to lay out the plan for this episode and the next one. So we've got a special treat for you guys. We're going to do kind of a 2-part Brimstone podcast because we've got a lot to cover. In part because we had the opportunity, and by we, I mean Chad, because I was a fool and didn't go.
It's true.
But now is Greg an owner of the property
Greg
there?
is the promoter, as I believe what his actual title is. He's in charge of PR.
Do you know his last name?
I could not tell you off the top of my head. I'm sorry, Greg.
Greg, we're so sorry. We're terrible at this. But basically, we got a chance to do an interview with Greg, who's the promoter there, and a certain gentleman possibly named Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
Which is just mind-blowing that we had that opportunity. So what we're going to do is we're going to put those interviews, there's about 20 minutes. They're going to be in this podcast. We're going to stitch those in just a little bit. So we'll basically do some of our junk, stitch those in, and then come back and finish up the show. And then part 2 next week is going to be basically Steve, Chad, and Cody. And was there anybody else there?
Nope, that was it. The 3 of us handled it. It took 2 other men to fill your spot.
2 men and a little boy.
Yep, I'm the little boy.
So they discussed a number of topics, and we'll kind of stitch another podcast around that. So we're going to have a 2-part Brimstone special, but we didn't want to make you wait for the really good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to stitch that into this one. And I also want to throw a shout out to our sponsors and stuff up front, just in case people are stopping in to listen to the interview and don't make it all the way to the end. So once again, Watch Communications, you host our podcast and the website, and you do an amazing job. We want to thank you so much. So Watch Communications. Also, if you need web hosting, that offer still stands. You can get 10% off your first month of web hosting by using the code Waste of Time. Also, a huge shout out to TGM Off-Road, UTV-Doors.com, UTV Engineering, Harrison Power Sports, CW Motorsports, and Spanx Fab. And you can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com. You can also find the podcast on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, and iHeartRadio.
Yep.
And you can find the video version on YouTube. Just look for Eminent Waste of Time on any of those sources, and it will lead you back to this mess that we do on a weekly basis.
Yep.
So I wanted to get that stuff out of the way. Also wanted to throw a shout out to Kevin McDonough. He requested some stickers from them. I finally got them sent. They evidently got lost in the mail for a while because it went from here to Tennessee.
Yeah.
And somehow it took like a week and a half to make that trip.
Really?
I could have sent them with you. It would have been faster.
Yeah, I could have just dropped them off on my way. But
he's got them now. If anybody else out there wants them, we're just trying to get the word out about the show. So Kevin, thanks for requesting those. He's going to slap those on his buggy, and next ride, anybody that asks, go check this out. So we really appreciate what you guys are doing to promote the show, because it's going to open up more avenues for us to do stuff like high profile interviews and hopefully bring you more and more content that is, dare I say it, worthwhile.
Yeah.
We might have to change the show name if it keeps getting...
Let's just stick with what we know best.
Okay, which is nothing. Wasting time. Perfect.
All right. So before we get to all that, let's get to some of the normal stuff that we talk about. Some racing and
normal stuff. We never talk about anything normal.
Normal for us. Let's put it that way.
So this is like one of those shows where they tell you something cool is coming up and they make you wait till the end.
Pretty much.
Okay, I'm good with that. That was kind of my plan anyways.
Yep. So GNCC was last weekend. It was
Kyle Cheney got to win.
He did. Well, he has to win every one the rest of the year out to claim the series title.
I'm sorry, it's impossible. You just can't keep a UTV together like that. If he does it, it would be a miracle. I'm not saying it's him. I'm just saying as hard as he drives, how do you ensure that your UTV stays together for an entire brutal season?
It would be a tall order. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So he did win. The track was, I don't understand this. So I watched a lot of video footage. I generally try and catch people's dash cam footage and different people's perspectives of it and all that, like the week after if I don't get to watch it live on Racer TV. But somehow the whole course was mud except for a few spots which were insanely dusty. I don't get how that happened.
Did they bring out water trucks and intentionally make mud holes?
No, it was
okay.
It was Mother Nature did that one to him. So, yeah. But Kyle Chaney seemed like he drove a good race. He didn't upload his whole footage. He only uploaded bits of it.
Okay.
So I enjoy watching his and other guys. I enjoy watching the drivers and seeing how they react, and you can kind of pick out their tendencies too as they're going.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of wild because I won't give up the things that I've noticed about Chaney and some other guys, but you definitely pick up their tendencies of what they do and don't like and how they handle certain situations. It's really wild.
Oh, we're at our core, we're all really predictable animals.
Yeah, we are. And I'm the type, I study people. I want to see what their patterns are.
You want to exploit their weaknesses.
I do. I'm like that evil genius, except not the genius bit.
Just the evil bit.
Just the evil, yeah. So another guy that we have talked about before, and I'm not here to bash him at all, but he's a popular YouTuber. We've talked about him before. His YouTube channel is 3D Machines, but Dalton Daly is his name. And I'm going to call him a kid because he's, I don't know, early 20s. Like
he's
22.
younger than we are.
Yeah, he's quite a bit younger than we are. But so it was his second race, I think was all it was. And he's only owned the UTV for like a few weeks or a month before the GNCC series started. And he just does not know what he's into. I mean, he's just in over his head. He didn't have enough time. He'd never driven a UTV prior to getting this one. So he had like a few weeks of seat time in it because he got it. It was a wreck. He rebuilt it. And he rebuilt it with some parts he shouldn't have used. And he figured that out because he broke them right away. But he just didn't have any seat time to know how they handle in hard situations. And he just needs to get out there and put a bunch of seat time in.
I agree, but I think part of what he's doing is kind of the learn as you go, which I think I'm the more of the tendency. I would rather practice I would rather find some property and practice and get a handle on it rather than learning in a race situation, because learning in a race situation is expensive.
Yeah.
And time consuming and frustrating for the other drivers if you're causing a bottleneck.
Yeah.
But for him, I mean, honestly, he's got a huge YouTube base. So I think really what it is he's just taking them along for the ride. Even if he blows the thing up, which he flipped it right out of the start.
Yep. He on the
lost
whole
a
shot
tire,
corner.
only made one lap.
Yeah.
And so, but he's taking his whole crew along for the ride.
And I get that. Yeah.
I think that really is as much as anything is he's saying, hey, I'm trying something new. You're all coming with me. And maybe it is an education for people out there that are considering racing. That, again, we're not saying don't do it. Just be aware. It's one of those things that is definitely harder than it looks.
Oh, yeah.
And he's proving that.
Yeah.
We proved that.
Yeah, we did. I just wish he would take advice better from people that have given him advice. He chooses not to, though.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's his call. It's his money. It's his buggy and his time to waste.
That's what I always say. Their money, their buggy. They can do what they want. I may not agree with it, but it's still their money and their buggy. So whatever is what it is.
So speaking of side-by-sides, we don't have a ton of seat time in. Your new one looks like we have a name.
We do have a name. We ran it was a Survey Monkey, which I laughed about.
Which I got to call out Facebook on this one.
Yeah.
If you're just you as John Doe out there and you want to put a survey up, you can have multiple options, more as in more than two.
Yep.
If you're a business, which is how we have our page listed as a brand, you only get two options.
Yes.
And it's not, if you pay us, we'll give you more. There's
No.
just no option to do more than a two option survey, which makes
0 cents.
just literally no sense to me.
Yeah.
So we had to do Survey Monkey.
Yeah. Sorry. But
And the winner is,
Acre Shaker.
that is the name.
It won by a landslide. I'm going to say I think it had at least twice as many votes or 3 times as any other.
Yeah, that was my recollection from the last time I looked at the poll. I kind of gave up on checking up because it was just clear that was running away.
Yeah, I checked it like the second day and I was like, well, it's ahead, but it wasn't ahead by a ton. And then I checked it a few days later and it was just running away. And then at the end, it's like, yeah, it wasn't even close.
So now we've got to at some point we wanted to vinyl it up anyways with some either Eminent Performance or Waste of Time. We'll decide how we want to go. Probably Eminent Performance.
Whatever. Or both.
There'll be stuff all over it, but we want to definitely put the name on there. Ooh, can we put the little, your name on the driver's door and my name on the passenger?
Sounds good to me. The wife said she'll never ride with me again. I took her for a ride in
take
it
her
yesterday.
Oh, crap. I was waiting for this fateful day. How did that go?
I didn't go that fast, but apparently my not fast is way too fast for her.
Okay, what's not fast? Like 60?
I went 35.
Oh, what? That's it?
Yes.
That is remarkably restrained for you.
No, I mean, I got to 35 really fast, but
But still, that's nothing.
I was being very good. And like in the woods, I think I slowed down. I was doing like 15 to 20, depending on where I was.
I don't think I've ever ridden with you going that slow.
No, probably
Not once.
Well, maybe when we were idling to the start line for a race.
That's probably it.
I was being very good, and she thought I was just being, Satan reincarnated behind the wheel. And
You should have taken her out in the field and showed her what it really was like.
oh yeah, I told her. I said, "Oh, this thing will do 80 something." She's like, "Not with me, it won't. I'm getting out." I'm like, "You're gonna get out at 80?"
You should have killed the Pope. You should have taken her up to 80 first, and then everything else would have seemed really slow.
Oh, she would have murdered me.
Of course, it's hard to drive with somebody's hands around your throat.
She was pinching me and she was like hitting me. I'm like, "That's not smart."
That's not helping at all. Oh, that's awesome.
So
I was wondering when the first ride was going to be. I'm actually pretty amazed that she even was up for it.
Yeah, well, I think I conned her into it. I was like, "Come on, let's go for a ride in the side by side," and she's like, "Okay, fine, just a minute." And then I just kept bothering her until she got in, and then we went. And that was.
So her name's not going on the door.
No, she won't be in it much, if ever.
No, I think you're done. So it is the Acre Shaker. We'll have to brand it as such.
Yep.
So thank you for your feedback and your suggestions, and little interactive bits, kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoyed it. So hopefully everyone else did too.
So what else do you want to cover today? We got a lot of stuff on the list, but we don't have a lot of time because we got to cut away.
So let's go to the side-by-side blog, guys.
Yes. They raced the Double X against everything.
Basically everything. So they had
They didn't race against a dog.
No, I like all the side-by-sides out there.
Oh, okay.
Is what I mean by like everything.
I know.
So they raced the Double X. They didn't race it against what I'm going to call the OG Wildcat. They just didn't. I mean,
sure.
It's fine. They're
all broken. They didn't have one available.
So they raced it against a 1000 XP, naturally aspirated. They raced it against a Razor Turbo S, which is the 168 horsepower, same drivetrain as what I have, basically, but a little beefier and wider, obviously, and all that.
32s.
So, yeah, 32s, bigger tires, but, I mean, comparable enough.
Right.
They raced it against two different X3s, one that had a Stage 6 tune in it and all kinds of work done.
Good grief.
It's a beast. Another one that had a stage, I want to say it's like a Stage 3 or Stage 4, and then they dropped it back to stock tune. So it might have had a little bit of horsepower gain with a few other things that they've done, but it wasn't much. They'd added a cage.
So it was
stuff.
a Turbo R, though. Like it was returned to stock, but it was a Turbo R. It wasn't just a turbo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like the 172 horsepower model also.
Gotcha.
And stock form as they could get it back to. And a YXZ, a stock YXZ. Basically, it came down to it ran pretty much dead even with the YXZ.
So the extra horsepower basically just somewhat offset the weight gain.
Right. And the CVT utilization of horsepower, because CVTs kind of eat horsepower a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, it is what it is. They eat it in my Razor. I'm not saying anything against the Double X.
Yeah.
It's just all of them.
Drivetrain loss. Yeah.
They all do. The XP, naturally aspirated, it pulled away a little bit from it. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, it just ran away. It just walked away a little bit from it.
But there's probably a 400-pound differential there, weight-wise, between a stock Double X and a stock XP.
Right. And they raced it against, now the Turbo S, the new 168 horse big one. It just ran away from it.
Yeah.
I'm
guessing both X3s were
just
gone.
Yeah, they just ran away from it. There was no difference. So drag race wise, now they did drag race, they did suspension, and they did some like trail riding comparisons between all of these.
Sure.
So the drag race comparison to me and to them, they said the same thing. There's no surprises there. It ran with the class of machines that it was meant to run with.
Exactly.
So they said, like for the power, it's good. No problems there. They did trail riding with it, and they said for trail riding, it was surprisingly good. Better, they thought, than the YXZ. It was tough to compare it to. We're just going to leave out the other machines as far as like the X3 and the Turbo S, because they don't really compare. They're just different.
Sure.
But comparing it to the other naturally aspirated machines, the Turbo or the Double X and the XP, they're just different. The one guy who really did a lot of the driving, it's like he said, I have more time in the XP, so it feels more natural to me. Not that the Double X is bad, it just feels so much different.
Yeah, it really is a completely different machine. I mean, we got to sit in them back to back, your XP and then the Double X when we did the ride up with Harrison.
Yeah.
And it's just a different feeling machine. There's no two ways about it.
Yep. So then they took the Double X and the naturally aspirated XP 1000 and they jumped them. That is where they said, and I could see it as soon as they jumped those things. The XP, it jumped like mine jumps. It soaks up the big hits amazingly well. And he doesn't have any special suspension. I think it's a Fox version. It might be a Walker Evan, even though.
Okay.
But it's not like a Dynamics or anything. It's just a normal, basic one. And it handled the jump just normal. The Double X, when it landed, it was hard. It went full skid plate to the ground, rebounded full length.
Really?
It was bad. The guy who jumped it, his name's Nick, when he jumped it and they did like the wrap up, it ended up being a few days later. He said his back still hurt.
See, I'd seen part of the video, but I had intended to go back to it and finish watching because I wanted to see the jump, and then just things happened, and a week went by, and I forgot about it. So that's the one part I hadn't seen.
Yep.
That surprises the heck out of me, honestly.
Well, and so basically their summary, and they dance kind of around this, and it's just how it is. From what I gathered from all that they showed is I think the spring rates are too light for the weight of the machine, and they did that to get it soft, and they had the compression set on full firm, and it still did that. So I really think the shocks just aren't up to snuff for the weight of that machine.
Yeah, they're probably trying to cater it to being a really smooth, nice ride, which it is, because when we drove it for the very limited time that we drove it, it soaked up the intermediate size bumps that got the suspension moving. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. But when you add that much weight to a machine...
And you send it up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a very long stroke, and you have to have a very, you got to have a different spring rate to
compensate
for the extra weight coming down.
Yeah.
And I think they just made the decision to... Most people are not going to push it that hard. We're going to go for like the intermediate and really soak up that stuff well.
Yeah.
Because I think people would have probably complained it rode too firm if they had done it differently. And honestly, the only thing you can do to combat that is to give the suspension more stroke. But
well, you can do like a multi-rate coil and stuff like that, and try. I mean, it's not going to fix it all, but you can help it.
Yeah.
So kind of it has nothing to do with this. Well, let me wrap up the side-by-side blog guys first on the Double X. So they basically said if you're going to trail ride or ride this like a normal side-by-side rider would, it's great. If you're going to jump it or really going to push it, the suspension comes up lacking. They kind of came to the conclusion and said if this had come out like 5 years ago, it would have been a great machine, like top of the list out there before the Double X came out. And just as the XP Turbo was coming out, they said it would have been a great machine. Now, comparative to what's out there, it just falls a little short. And I can see that.
You mean before the X3 came out?
Or yeah, the X3. Did I say Double
You said
X?
Double X.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before the X3
before it
came out.
Before itself.
Yes.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
No, before the X3 came out. Yeah, so they didn't think it was a horrible machine. It just wasn't great for the people that are really going to push it.
So if you're out, one thing we talked about was, dunes running. Obviously, it's a little down on power. A lot of guys running dunes want, the 1,000 turbos and stuff. And they inevitably are going to have a factory turbo version.
Oh, yeah.
We
they
talked
will.
about the fact you can get one now, but it's expensive and you have to do the work to get it put on or you have to take it somewhere.
Right.
But they're going to have a factory turbo version. My gut feeling is it'll be 180 horse from the factory is probably the number they're going to shoot for.
Yeah, they might be 190 or, whatever. It's going to be in that range.
It'll be in that range. But now you take that thing up and you launch it off of a dune.
Your suspension is still lacking. Now, that's a perfect segue into the next thing I wanted to talk about before I said I wanted to wrap up the side-by-side blog guys stuff. So Shock Therapy got their hands on one. They picked one up.
Ooh.
So Shock Therapy, in my opinion, is one of, and they're not the only, but I'm going to say one of the premium shocks, like aftermarket supplier companies out there.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
There's Elka, there's Fox, there's Shock Therapy. There's all kinds of these companies. In my opinion, Shock Therapy for just purely an aftermarket, man, they do stuff right. And they make them nice. So they were the only video I've seen that they've dropped with the Double X was they did a walk around. They didn't tell me anything about it. I didn't know, parts are interchangeable, this and that. But they were getting ready. They were setting it up that night for pre-running, and they were going to pre-run the Baja 1000 with it the next day. They were actually leaving in the morning. And they said as soon as they get back, they're going to release a video with what they found. So I would suspect that they're going to come out with some shocks and springs upgrades for that, because they'll probably find the same thing, especially running in Baja with some big nasty whoops and some stuff that will really air it out a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll find it.
Well, my initial impression when I looked at the Double X was the way they've got the rear suspension set up. I was actually kind of shocked how small the factory shocks were. Now, I know it's a completely different setup than your XP Turbo back there. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
It's a trailing arm setup, and the trailing arm is just enormous. I mean, it's thick, it's heavy, it's going to take a beating. I don't know how you could bend that thing short of totaling the buggy.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking the shocks, though, really looked small compared to having just picked up your Razor XP Turbo.
Yeah, the shocks on that, if you haven't been around the XP Turbos, they're just huge.
They're enormous, yeah. And I mean, the RS1, same thing. They're just enormous. They have a ton of stroke. You've got a lot of spring there to work with. And I remember thinking, I can see where the suspension travel is. I can see how they're coming up with the numbers they're getting for how far it'll flex. But the shock just didn't look up to the task when you saw how beefy everything else was. Now, looks are nothing.
Right.
I mean, it's impossible to know what wizardry they had done with valving and oil weights and everything internal. But, maybe my initial hunch was right. It's just, there's not enough there.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm excited to see what the shock therapy guys come up with.
Yeah, I really am too.
Yeah, we'll see. And you know what? I'm not bashing the Double X at all because, it's a first-year model thing, and really it's their first departure from the Wildcat of old. So there's going to be...
This was a blank sheet of paper. This wasn't just even a heavy massage. This was just, okay, we're designing a UTV.
Yeah. So it's a blank sheet of paper, like you said. So there's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be things here and there.
And Razor has been riffing... Polaris, I should say, has been riffing on the Razor for quite some time now. So they've made design changes and upgrades, but they've had a lot of time to flush out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and this is totally new. So there's going to be those things that just don't work.
Yeah.
So I get it, but
it's exciting stuff, though. I mean, this is part of what I love about the hobby is there's always something going on. There's always improvements. There's always guys testing stuff to the limit. How can we make this better?
Yep.
There's always something going on in the background.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they'll come up with. So I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure it'll be amazing, and it'll transform the shortcomings of the buggy into something that's just a distant memory. So,
well, at this point, I think we're going to go ahead and cut over to our interview with Greg there from Brimstone. He's the promotion manager there, and of course Travis Pastrana. So we're going to cut over to that, and then we'll be back with you at the end of that to kind of close up shop. So,
yep, you guys just enjoy, sit back and enjoy. You don't have to look at Doug, but you got to look at me some more. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. There's nothing I could do about that. Masks, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll be back with you in just a little bit.
Eminent Waste of Time, episode 35. I'm Chad.
I'm Doug. I mean Steve.
No, you're not.
I'm Steve.
And over here we have...
And I'm Cody.
There you go. So you might notice that the backdrop looks just a little bit different than normal. That's because we're not in the Eminent Performance compound this time. We're at Brimstone.
That's right.
So, and we actually have a special guest here with us. Greg, if you could come on in here, we'd be glad to have you sit down and tell us a little bit about what Brimstone is and what you guys do here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me and welcome to Brimstone. We're going to have a great weekend. Brimstone was started about 12 years ago with my brother, and he had this idea that to have a place to ride ATVs. So that grew from our first event with 50 people to probably having 20,000 people here this weekend. So we're really looking forward to some great music, some great Nitro Circus stuff going on. I saw some of it today, and just having a great time.
How many acres do you guys have here?
We have over 20,000 acres in 300 miles of trails, give or take.
Do you have a favorite trail number? Favorite trail?
107 has a waterfall. Everybody goes there and gets their picture made. I love that in there.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites. Yes.
So is this your guys' biggest event throughout the year?
This, usually Paragon is a little bit bigger, but because we have Nitro Circus in town, it's probably going to be the biggest event that we've had.
That's exciting. So what are some of the highlights of this event particularly?
Well, tomorrow we've got a concert.
Yep.
We got Mark Chestnut in concert. We have karaoke, which is one of my favorites. After that, giving away a bunch of prizes. Something that hasn't been announced is Nitro Circus is going to be doing some jumps tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday.
Really?
All 3 days instead of 1 day.
Really?
And so
who from Nitro Circus is going to be doing those jumps?
It's kind of a secret right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super secret.
Yeah.
But we might bring that person in here soon.
Yeah.
But,
really?
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, we've got that, which is cool if you go on top of the mountain. What a beautiful scene. You've got a ramp, you've got a landing pad that overlooks all the mountains, and it's just absolutely beautiful up there.
Chad hasn't actually had a chance to go up and see the
I haven't been to the top yet.
Top of the mountain yet.
See,
but,
I'm from Indiana. Everything's flat there.
Yeah.
Like the top of the mountains, there's a molehill about 6 feet over there. That's the top.
Something about a cornfield. You guys got a cornfield up there? We know those.
That's all I know, yeah.
Well, you're missing
we
out,
actually
Jack.
call
That's
this
awesome
top
up
of the world. This place is, just a special place that you can look 360 360 degrees and see the mountains. So we call that top of the world, and it's a special place up there.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
But other than that, Saturday night we have Granger Smith, Earl Dibbles.
Okay.
AKA Earl Dibbles, that'll be on stage. Kane Brown is one of our local guys from Chattanooga. He'll be singing as well. He was just on The Voice performing this past week, and so we're really excited about that. And then the finale with a bunch of fireworks that we've never done here on Brimstone. So it's just going to be a great weekend.
Honestly, this is I was doing the math earlier. I think this is my 12th White Knuckle event.
Oh wow!
I mean, I take that back. I did a couple of the camp raisers when those were in town.
Absolutely.
But I think this is my 12th trip to Brimstone, and that you're right. The fireworks, I saw that on the schedule, and I was like, no way. That's awesome.
The pyromaniac in him was thrilled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't let him near him.
It really
me
was.
too. That's why they put them up on the mountain away from me.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
But we're just going to have a great weekend. They've said we're going to have some thunderstorms here and there. That's fine.
We're just gonna send it, right?
We're
just gonna send it.
Full send all weekend long.
So Yamaha, are they doing a giveaway this year?
Yes, that's the finale for the Wild Mountain Rampage. They're going to be giving away an X4, and so that'll be given away in between the music acts.
Okay.
And we've got other prizes as well that'll be given away. But Yamaha is a super sponsor of ours. Can-Am is here. Can-Am is here doing demos.
You might be able to get that X3, right? The real X3,
the real one,
non-racing
not with
X3.
blown out tires in a race.
So,
and
Chad actually a couple weeks ago, right? He rode in an X3 during a race, and he ended up with two flat tires.
2 flat tires in the rear, and still got sixth out of it.
So it wasn't a very good example ride. So are they doing the example rides or
they're doing the demos.
The demo rides, yeah.
Yeah, and while you're there, you can register for the X3.
They're giving an X3 away?
Not here, but they give one away every year. So you can register, go there, and they've got some prizes and stuff there. So I think some hats and some other stuff they're giving away. They've got some great units. I went over there, and so we're glad to have them back after 5 years.
Wow.
So I love to see the OEMs here.
Yeah.
We've also got Abernathy Motorsports.
Yep, that's where I picked up my razor at.
Chad
Man, they treated me great. No complaints with them at all.
Yeah, they are the largest Polaris dealership in the United States, and they're a great partner of ours. They do a great job, and we're just so thrilled to have partners like that here, and that's what makes it go. Besides you guys that come here year after year, that's what makes it go.
Yep.
We are so glad to be here. I really am. We come all the way down from Illinois. It's about a 9.5 hour drive for me.
It's about 5.5.
About 5.5 hours from Indiana. 12. I'm pretty sure this is trip number 12 for me, and it's worth it every time. You guys out there, if you've never been here, you gotta check it out. This riding, Chad kind of got his cherry popped a little earlier. We took him out on a quick ride before we did this podcast. He got to experience just a tiny piece of it.
Yeah.
And I think he was all about it.
It's good trails, man.
It's worth the drive.
Yeah, it's well worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been here the last few years, and it's rain or shine. It's still a lot of fun. These guys put on a great show.
Yep, Cody's here set up as a vendor. He's got the back half kits here.
Yep, he does.
He's selling a bunch of user. I think you're already out of turbo axles. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I sold out of turbo axles
Day
the
one.
moment I dropped the back door to the trailer. Yes.
That's
Gone.
awesome.
So I'm sure everybody's heard of Brimstone, but for those that haven't, and for those that want to look up some information on what you guys offer here, not just this event, but other events coming up, how do they look you guys up, get a hold of you?
Yeah, so all they got to do is go on www.brimstonerecreation.com. We've got a great Instagram it shows everything that's going on. Facebook as well. We're very social media friendly. So get on and find us. You'll know what's going on. We communicate a lot through that, and come see us. Come ride with us.
I'll tell you, though, a lot of people don't know this. Like, you go to a lot of events, and you get this band, and a lot of people think, it's kind of like a race band.
Yeah.
But when you pull up and they actually scan you with a phone or a sensor, it's so cool to me. I mean, we're kind of technology guys.
Yeah.
And I love that Brimstone is doing this. I think this is really cool, honestly. You know, that they're incorporating the technology. This is really cool, Brimstone. I really do like that.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, that's cool. And then when you come register, you know, the other thing, you got the Brimstone Connection app that shows you all the trail system.
I haven't even opened it yet. I probably need to go check and see what trails are close after the podcast tonight.
Absolutely, but you know, even if you have cell phone service or not, it still works out on the trails. And you know, a lot of people that don't, you know, you get lost. I still get lost.
Yeah, I do too. Absolutely.
So you make one wrong turn, but you can find your way out. So it's a great way to keep safe out there. And so anyway,
I got a question for you. So I like the technical stuff. What's the hardest trail in the park?
Oh man,
I want to say probably 75Y.
75Y would be mine as well.
It's a rough one.
Yeah, it really is.
I've never gone up it. I've only gone down.
Well, that don't sound like any fun going down. You got to go up.
Yeah. I looked at it last week.
You thought about it.
Yeah, I thought about it, and that's about as far as I went. But I went out with one of our guys that's out on the trails all the time, and when he said he wasn't going to do it, I wasn't doing it. I can tell you that right now. But that's a tough trail.
We'll try to get some video of it. We'll hopefully the weather holds out. The forecast is a little. But we're in the mountains. You never know. You really never know with the weather here. And 12, I quote me, 12 trips I've been rained on twice. One for 5 minutes, and last year's White Knuckle event, I think it actually thunderstormed right during the concert.
Yeah, we did have some high winds and some dangerous winds.
They had to evacuate, if I recall. I remember the announcements, everybody evacuate. It was not a very good time.
Yeah. But that was the first time in 10 years that we'd ever had something like that. So
overall ratio is really good that the events keep going on. Even with a little rain, you guys are set up to handle this just fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got enough people put in place. We communicate with through our social media, text messages, you know, and so you know, all you got to do is look on our social media, or if you're here, you'll get a text.
Yeah,
message.
You do. Actually, it's really cool because you'll get text messages throughout the whole weekend that you're here.
Absolutely.
It's really cool. You don't go to a lot of events that have that type of touch point and communication like Brimstone does. It's really nice.
No, if you miss an event, it's your own fault because they stay on top of it. They
You're
let
exactly
you know when they are. So
yes, absolutely.
Well, we want to be respectful of your guys' time. We appreciate you stopping by, but we do have one more person here who just has a few minutes to spend with us.
Yeah.
So if we could get him to come on over, that would be great.
Greg. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Greg,
welcome
so much.
To Brimstone.
Thank you,
always
sir.
welcome here. Come back and see us, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg. And this next guest, you guys may have seen him somewhere
on a couple things.
Something about Nitro
Circus. Maybe he did a
Nitro
backflip on a
Circus?
motorcycle or something.
Yeah. Travis Pastrana.
Nitrous Circus.
Nitrous. Good to
see you
meet
guys.
you.
How you doing?
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on the Eminent Waste of Time podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to really waste your time here.
Well, that's good because that's what we were kind of doing over there. It was just good because you guys don't have any drinks here, so I was disappointed.
I got you beef jerky though. I mean,
Dude, honestly, the beef jerky possibly the best I ever had.
Yeah,
And, I mean, this is a very American. America is just.
this is straight for Springfield,
blowing in the
Illinois.
breeze. Right there.
Thank you for that. That was amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. So, Travis, what are you doing, man? What are you doing here at Brimstone?
Coming out. All my friends have been out here the last couple of years, and they said, "Dude, this is honestly, it's the most fun you'll have." So, came out, brought a bunch of the Polaris Razors, brought some four-wheelers, brought a motorcycle to test a jump, and gonna try a world record jump. Actually, it's Magical, one of the guys from everyone's got a nickname I know these days, but he's one of the best trials riders in the world. Not great on a Razor, but I think he's going to be the most scared to possibly attempt a world record jump. So he's the one we're sending first.
Might as well.
And if he doesn't make it, then someone else will try to make it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to have a test dummy. Go.
Everyone has to have a guinea pig.
Yeah.
We just told him just hold it wide open. You should be right around there, right around 250 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that like the last podcast. The guys on the bikes, they just hold the throttle wide open and then do one Mississippi, two Mississippi, right?
Yeah, the guys in the cross country racing, when it's dusty conditions, they count down to braking when they can't see.
Sounds like rally.
So
Yeah.
I'm a factory backed guy, probably not nearly the level if you are.
It's all the same.
I mean, so I got a new ride command this year, XC Racing, Woods Racing.
Yes.
And I showed Chad ride command, and we GPS the track. We walked the track before before the race, and that was
you
really
cheated.
No, it's perfectly legal.
It's completely legal against the rules.
If you're not cheating,
with
you're
the
not
rules.
trying, man. I understand. Like, you try to,
But when
do
that
your
dust
best.
cloud
Okay,
come
yeah, we
blowing in,
cheated.
it was awesome to look down at the ride command, and go right through that dust
It's called
cloud.
prepared. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got it.
So are you going to be jumping it in a razor?
I am going to be, today we set it up, and Hubert Rowland's out here, and we got
Hubert the redneck is here.
Hubert the redneck. Well, Hubert's been here multiple years. I mean, he lives right down the road in Lascasas.
I did not know that. I've never seen him here.
Well, really?
No, I've never.
I feel like he stands out a little. Maybe not. I don't
You
know.
know what?
Have
I
you
think
seen all the rednecks around here?
I was going to say something. I was like, never mind.
you don't
I'll
have any
say it.
mason
He
jars
fits right
on you,
in.
do you, by chance?
I don't know.
Yeah. We
But
haven't
Hubert-
seen any of those
Hubert,
yet.
You know, really?
Yeah, we might, maybe.
Maybe one or
Maybe.
two.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
So
Trav-
Hubert's gonna be.
Well, no, Hubert's here. They've been building Come Over Steve, all the guys, Nate Wessel, all the main guys from Action Sports. I mean, Nate Wessel's built almost everything we've done for Nitro, but definitely most of the X Games ramps. He was out here for the last week, just getting everything dialed in. So I hit it with a dirt bike today, and hit it dirt bike because I still a two-stroke for life, So RM, I got 2003.
I saw
RM
your hat the other day with Erica from Brimstone. It was
Yes.
like 2 strokes. What was that? 2
I
strokes?
just said something about 2 strokes.
Two-
Two, awesome. Yeah.
I like 2 strokes.
Yeah, I like
I really do too.
But as fast as it goes was 71 miles an hour, and thank goodness it was not 70.
Not
Because
quite enough
it-
there, huh?
Man, well, because we had 160 feet edge to edge, and I was like, oh, it should make it about 200, so I just hold it wide open. I was about halfway up the ramp going, I don't know if we quite have, and
It's
we
not
moused
quite
up
enough.
So I made it by literally 2 inches. That would have been I was in the air like, bail off, stay. I'm like, I can't run 70 mile an hour.
How far is it? Is it a world record?
Well, not yet.
Not yet. Not yet?
And that was the goal was to do a test run on the dirt bike. Unfortunately, we built the jump so big that my dirt bike won't clear it wide open as fast. as
What, okay, so what kind of dirt bike did you jump it with?
I jumped a Suzuki RM 252 stroke.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
The 250.
Yeah.
So, Travis, what is
I
the-
needed the RMs. I needed the 500. For
You
sure.
did.
Yeah, without a doubt.
What is the record right now?
The record right now is I got to look it up exactly, but I think it's 234.
Okay.
And You're shooting for around 250.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get 300, but I don't know if we get it. This mountain is awesome, and it's great being in Tennessee. But I have to tell you, like at the top of the mountain, where the coolest spot is, where we definitely had to go. These guys have been great, and we got some trail systems, but there's a couple chicanes. Like, so the world record right now was set where it had a big flat field with just grass, and then a long run out. So we've got about 100-yard run out at the end. So hopefully it's not flipping.
Yeah.
We built but if it is, then
You'll
there's
set
a
the world
cliff,
record at the
and there's, like,
end
the
going
Congo
off.
jungle.
Yeah.
To like launch off into, which should be good. They said a helicopter crashed there one year and everyone survived because it was really thick.
The trees caught it. Yeah.
Trees caught.
Yeah.
So the trees may or may not catch my friend Phil. I'm hoping that he doesn't go there. But either
Typical-
way, it's going to be entertaining. Pass or fail, it's going to be great.
I will
Typical-
tell you though, one of the coolest things I've ever seen with Nitro Circus is the guy you guys have in the wheelchair.
Oh, Aaron Fotheringham. Yeah.
Wow. And it goes back to kind of, there's an XC racer in Indiana
Yeah.
that races dirt bikes with one arm, right?
Yep. He's a dirt bike rider.
Incredible. I mean, that's incredible.
And my dad being Marine and military, and just seeing how many people that go through so much, and they come out. I mean, saw one guy today driving a Razor with one leg, and it wasn't. I mean,
Yep.
people say right, but still, you're out there. You don't stop doing what you're doing. And Aaron Wheels Fotheringham, he came on Nitro Circus Tour, and his parents were so not against it. They were supportive, but they're like, look, he's a smart kid. He should go to college. And he was 19 or 18 when he came on to Nitro, and he's like, I can go down this ramp. And his dad's a doctor, and he's like, look, you're smart. You can make a living with your hands. You don't need your legs to do this. Why are you trying to be in action sports? And now he's one of the most well-known people on Nitro Circus. Travels the world, inspiring so many kids. Started his own sport, WCMX, Wheelchair MX. And there's so many younger kids and younger male, female, anything. They're going out there, even if they had an injury later, and they have something they can strive to do and get into action sports and be around. It's just the people, the lifestyle. You come here, man. I just got here yesterday. I've been welcomed in. Everyone is so awesome. Just like, hey, come on out. Let's hang out.
I honestly can't believe you are sitting here next to us right now, man. That
I was
is
invited
so.
here. It's great. I got beef jerky. This is awesome.
I have some adult beverages. I might have to.
Beverages.
Well, we've been out on the trail already, so we had some quad problems. I had some burning oil. We'll talk about that. But
Later,
we got here as soon as we could because we heard there was a special guest coming. And
Who?
This guy named Travis.
Yeah.
You guys met him before? Yeah.
No.
I heard he's not very nice.
not all that great, huh? Yeah.
Travis, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You got any questions? Any follow-up questions?
No, I'm good. I'm just, real appreciative you took your time. I know you guys got a busy schedule when you come places like this, so I appreciate you stopping by.
This is honestly vacation. My wife, we've been traveling, doing all the stuff, and this is the first time we've both been away from the kids for a little bit. She's coming out tonight, and just really excited to just have some fun, hang out, ride some razors, and man, just from what we experienced and the people around here, like this is going to be such a fun weekend, and hopefully set a world record while we're at it.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited to see it. So
Yes.
Cool.
Thanks a
Hey,
ton.
Fellow factory guy.
yeah, my man.
I'm gonna come see you for some driving lessons. So
Oh, you don't
you
want
be
my
on.
driving lessons. You'll be upside down before you know it.
That's fine.
Good, bad, and different.
It would be worth it.
Thanks a lot, Travis.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Well, I definitely want to say a huge thank you to both Greg and Travis for taking time out of their busy schedule to waste some time with us.
Yep. Yeah, fully
There's no
agree.
other way to put it.
They
They didn't
were-
gain anything from
No,
that.
they were both amazing. I mean, I know how it is when you're working an event like that, both for Greg and for Travis. The time that you have to actually do something like what they stopped by to do and do an interview is none. They just don't. There isn't.
Just from being the announcer at a regional race series, I have no time on a weekend. I mean, none.
Yeah.
So I can completely imagine the demands on their time. And so, Greg, Travis, thank you both so much for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate it. And hopefully that's not our only run-in with either of them. And hopefully I'm smart enough to actually, I don't know, go next time.
Yeah. Now, they were both great. Travis was extremely down to earth. I mean, Greg was too, but I mean, everybody knows who Travis Pastrana is. So a very down to earth guy.
Except my daughter, who referred to him as, who's Travis Pastrami? I was like, I'm sorry, I raised you
And
so
you're
poorly.
sleeping outside.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know you.
So no, they were both great, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come and talk with us for a few minutes. I tried to be as respectful of your time as we could, and not keep you there for forever.
You tried to be respectful?
I tried. Maybe it worked. Maybe it didn't.
Well, you'll all have to be the judge of that.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of respecting people's time, you probably got some trivia there, don't you?
I got trivias for you, sir.
Sweet. Are there any trap questions or write-ins from people?
There are write-ins
Yay!
from one Mr. Fuzzy.
Oh, great. He just likes to watch me squirm. It's
He
a game
does.
for him now.
I will let you know when we hit the fuzzy questions.
I'll probably know anyways. But
Okay.
yes,
Well, they'll be the only space ones.
true.
Okay. So, question number 1. This is trivia with Doug for those of you who are new listeners. I give Doug trivia and I watch him squirm not knowing or knowing some of these. And it's hilarious to me.
And then normally we close up shop with stupid stuff with Chad, but since he stabbed himself in the eye before the show started, that's going to have to suffice.
Yeah, we're running a bit long on time too, so we're trying to make it work. So anyway,
Question 1.
question number 1. Haagen-Dazs, the ice cream country or
Yes.
company. They're a whole country.
I want to go there.
The company name, what does it mean?
I just assumed it was a name, like Shoemaker or Southworth. I have no idea.
No guess?
Cold cream?
No. Haagen-Dazs is actually an American company, and it's gibberish. It means nothing. They just
Seriously?
made it up. It's not even a word.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was like Swedish or something.
No, they did that to make it sound very European. Like,
It worked.
Very
I had no
fancy.
idea.
I had known that one. I don't know why I knew that one, but
Because it's gibberish.
yes, I know gibberish.
There we go. It's your native tongue.
Okay, question number 2. Where did the term Banana Republic come from?
It basically referred to usually when you heard about a dictator of a country, they were, the absolute supreme ruler of some like little ridiculous place off in the tropics that, was known for banana farming. And so it was kind of a way to just refer to a specific region that would put a picture in your mind of a dirt poor country farming some crop that gets exported and a dictator like ruling it with an iron fist. That was my recollection.
It could partially have to do with that, but the real term came from when the Dole and Chiquita banana companies overthrew the Guatemalan Guatemalan government who had an electoral republic, and they installed a dictatorship to benefit themselves.
That's awesome. I mean, terrible for the people, but
It was a banana republic.
talk about your corporate takeover.
No kidding.
Wow.
So
Yay.
your answer might have partially been.
I think that's
what
probably
it
where it came
rolled
from.
into.
Rattling around was something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So-
just ridiculous.
Question number 3. What do the shoe companies Puma and Adidas have in common?
They make shoes.
Other than that, please, sir.
They make lots of shoes.
No, that does not count.
They're owned by the same company, parent company.
No, they are not.
Okay, then I don't know.
The two companies used to be one company that were owned by brothers until they had a fight and they split up.
Nice. It seems to happen a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of different companies.
Yeah.
I know you're not huge in the camping world, but Casita, the little fiberglass campers, and then there's the Scamps.
Yep.
Two brothers started Scamp, and the one brother didn't like the way they were built, basically, and so moved off and started Casita.
Did his own thing.
Did his own thing. But evidently it was somewhat amicable because the first Casitas actually came out of the Scamp factory.
Oh, okay.
Like they had Scamp serial numbers on before Casita fully got set up to do it themselves.
That's okay
So it
then.
must have been semi-amicable. But
Yep. Okay. Question number 4. Why is the Three Musketeers candy bar named as it is?
Because prior to World War II and budget cutbacks because of the whole World War thing going on, it used to be 3 flavors. It was Neapolitan, it was strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. Those were the Three Musketeers.
You are correct, sir.
And M&M Mars, you better bring that crap back because that sounds phenomenal.
I want that. I don't like Three Musketeers bars. If it had that, I would eat them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the war's over. Bring that stuff back. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, it's been several years. I think the strawberry cream supply has returned.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think vanilla extract is probably something you can get your hands on now, unlike, during World War II rationing. So
Yes.
make that crap happen.
Yep, fully agree. All right, question number 5. What kind of business did Marriott start out as? The hotel chain?
Wasn't a hotel chain?
No, it was not originally.
They made dirigibles.
Nope.
Okay, I don't know.
They were a root beer stand.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shift.
Yeah, completely different from what you'd expect.
You just wake up one day and decide there's no money in root beer. Let's make hotels.
Apparently so. I don't know what the whole circumstances were with them
That's crazy.
shifting, but they did. Okay.
Kind of like how Eminent Performance started out as we're going to make parts, and now we make questionable entertainment.
We do a podcast. No, said nothing about entertaining.
We do this. Whatever this is what we're doing now.
All right. Question number 6. What was used in the mass suicide at Jonestown by the religious cult to kill everyone?
Was that the whole cyanide Kool-Aid thing? Yes, that.
Except you're wrong. It was not Kool-Aid. It was the Kool-Aid knockoff called Flavor Aid.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
There's that evil genius-y bit.
I was using Kool-Aid in the
Generic.
like the crescent wrench. They're not crescent wrenches. They're adjustable wrenches. But everyone calls them a crescent.
Locking pliers are not vice grips.
Exactly.
So you were wrong. Gotcha.
I was right. I was just being specific generic.
You're wrong. Wrong.
I get half an internet point.
No, you get no interweb points. Question number 7. The Cowardly Lion costume from The Wizard of Oz was sold at auction for how much?
I don't have a actual number because I've never heard it, but I'm going to say 1.2 million.
$3 million.
Wow. That's a lot of jack.
Yes, it is.
Now I'm wondering when did it sell? Did it tell you that?
I believe it was 2017. It just wasn't that long ago.
Okay, I'm wondering how, if it was really just because sometimes after a production they just wad it up and throw it in a corner somewhere. I'm wondering what condition it was in.
I don't know. I didn't see a picture of it, but so
Because a lot of times they don't think there's value in stuff.
right.
Like the Dukes of Hazzard's Charger, they just put them on a lot and let them rot for years.
Yep. Sorry if you guys heard the beeping. So,
Wasn't expecting that.
but it did it.
Okay.
So, yep, $3 million. So, question number 8. This is from Fuzzy.
Yay.
These last 3 questions are from Fuzzy with a bonus question.
Oh, Lord.
Question number 8. How many cars have been sent to space?
Cars? Only an actual car, only one that I'm aware of.
4. 3 lunar rovers, and a Tesla.
Well, the Tesla is what I'm calling an actual car. Lunar Rover is not a street legal like car you can drive.
I didn't say street legal.
It's not. No,
It's a fuzzy question.
That was deliberately crappy, Fuzzy, and I don't like you because I was thinking actual car, and you knew that.
What license plate do you have to have on them to get them legal in space?
Turn signals, roadworthy tires, and
there's no roads on the moon.
There's all sorts of bits. They didn't. Well, okay, fine, whatever. I'm just saying it's not a car. It's a lunar rover. It's a totally different thing.
Question number 9.
Okay.
In honor of the recent passing of Alan Bean, the astronaut, what did he throw in the crater after landing on the moon?
It's a silver pin.
Yes, his astronaut silver pin.
His silver pin.
I will give that one to you. So very good. Question number 10. How many golf balls are on the moon?
Oh, Lord.
Because they were hitting golf balls. Everyone's probably seen the video footage over the years.
Yeah. I'll go with lucky 7.
2. There are 2.
I didn't know how many. I assumed like some that didn't get filmed or something like that. I
Yeah.
thought maybe it was kind of a thing for a while. 2.
No, 2 golf balls.
Were they Titleists?
I don't know what brand.
Spaldings?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was not given that information, sir.
Fuzzy, come on, man.
You didn't know what brand and
right.
what numbers on them.
Yeah.
You know, someone else could pick it up and play it.
Schlesinger 3.
Okay, here's your bonus question. Because this is about a company from where you and I are from. What South Bend company helped with the lunar rovers?
Studebaker?
Nope. Bendix.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yep. So, Bendix did.
Oliver Tractor.
No.
Okay. No, Bendix totally makes sense.
So, well, you got about 1/3 of them.
Ish. I don't know. I learned a lot and I had fun. It's not a waste of a time. Oh, wait. No, this whole thing is.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of your hair, but thanks once again for listening. You got all the other junk at the front end. I'm going to try and start doing that a little more just to make sure our sponsors get a shout out because our listening trend seems to be 45 to 50 minutes.
And they just skip that last bit.
Well, I think it's kind of that just, you're driving and it's
you
hard.
get somewhere and
Yeah, a lot of times people don't have like a solid hour. It's like a half hour to 45 minutes. So I want to throw the sponsors in the beginning from now on and make sure they get the love they deserve.
Good enough.
That way maybe we can attract new ones.
Maybe.
I mean, well, we've got another one coming on pretty quick here, don't we?
Yeah, we'll see.
It might
Still
be a
working
5-minute subject.
Might be.
That's crazy. So what else? I was going to mention something else and it just totally...
Escaped you.
Yes. If you like the podcast, please, by all means, leave us a review on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever you're doing it.
YouTube also.
YouTube, throw a like on there. We're gaining a lot of momentum, and that momentum is going to allow us to, again, bring in high-profile interviews. And we're possibly trying to work with some very large names to do some sponsorship for the podcast so that this isn't a complete black hole. Because honestly, we don't want to ask for money from you. We enjoy that you guys enjoy it. But as we continue to grow and have some reach out there, we'd like to extend that to, some corporate sponsorship opportunities. So you can help us do that. No money at all. Just 10 seconds of your life to write a review, throw a like, whatever you want to do there would be greatly, greatly appreciated. It's going to continue the steamroller growth we've been seeing lately.
Yep. Fully agree. So.
All right. So next week we are going to do part 2, which will be Chad and Cody and Steve, and less of me once again, which is probably a bonus.
Agreed.
And no matter who your terrible co-host is, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.